The member for Morialta.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to take the opportunity to reflect on a couple of issues. The Leader of the Opposition has just reflected on the career of the Honourable Stephen Wade, who served this parliament with distinction and our state with tenacity, hard work, courage and compassion throughout his entire parliamentary career. And while Stephen may well have other professional things that he does in the years ahead, his service to this parliament has come to an end. Stephen is a modest man. He perhaps would be in two minds about whether the fact that members of the leadership team of the Liberal Party are taking this opportunity today to reflect in their grieves about his hard work, his tremendous career. Stephen would not seek that sort of reflection as a modest person, but he certainly merits it. His service to the people of South Australia during the period of COVID will be remembered, sir, not just kindly by the history books, but with extraordinary gratitude by hundreds of thousands, more than 1 million South Australians. As has often been reflected, where would anybody in this state have preferred to be than South Australia if forced to be anywhere between January 2020 and indeed the end of 2022. I submit that absolutely nowhere else this was the best place in the world to be, and Stephen Wade's work as Health Minister was second to none, chairing those health ministers in that ministerial council, working closely with Nicola Spurrier, Grant Stevens and Premier Marshall to ensure that we had the best response of any jurisdiction in the world, bar none. But that work was just the most significant and last element of his work as Health Minister. His work to develop suicide prevention programs, well-being and preventative health measures, and indeed to invest in things that were needed in South Australia after the disaster of transforming health. More than $1 billion in hospital infrastructure upgrades, expansions to our emergency departments across metropolitan Adelaide, improvements in the hundreds of millions of dollars across country health in South Australia, and an increase in the base health budget to $7 billion. That investment was significant for the well-being and the health of South Australians, and Stephen Wade fought to ensure that the things that mattered were done during his time as Minister for Health. One of the most iconic achievements that Stephen Wade undertook as Minister was, of course, to revitalise the REPAT, a hospital that was closed by the Premier, Peter Malinauskas, when he was Minister for Health, and re-enlivened as a health precinct, serving the people of South Australia under Stephen Wade, and to Stephen's credit. On a personal level, I've been friends with Stephen for more than 20 years. We served on the Liberal Party's executive together. He became a life member of the Young Liberals during my period in Young Liberals, although his time was earlier. But certainly on the state executive, he was constantly supported by the party state council, who saw in Stephen a faithful servant of the party, a dedicated servant of the people of South Australia, and someone who, along with his outstanding and wonderful wife Tracy, will be able to be proud of the service he provided as Health Minister, as a member of the Legislative Council.